Welcome to Coffee Meets Cloud, where three women in tech come together to share real stories about leadership, life, and everything in between. Join our hosts, Karami McCollum.
Oh, I love the voice note feature, y'all.
Cassandra Parker.
I'm hanging in there like a hair in a biscuit.
And Rachel Rogers.
We have the power to change it.
Your go-to source for candid conversations and unfiltered insights. So, grab your coffee, pull up a chair, and join the chaos.
Welcome back to another episode of Coffee Meets Cloud. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good morning to you, friends. I'm so happy to see you. I'm too bubbly for back from vacation.
I was going to say, you are really excited about being back from vacation.
I wouldn't say I'm excited to not be on vacation, but I did get up this morning, took a walk, had my breakfast, coffee, all the things. So I'm very awake. Hit me back up about noon. I'm going to be on the couch.
I was woken up by a kid at 3:30 this morning, so I am not as awake as you.
Ooh, I'm sorry.
He's still on the couch, so if he runs in, I let him sleep. So
he was just awake or sick?
Oh, we had a whole peeing in the beds issue.
Bless his heart. Bless
he
your
does
heart.
that occasionally. It's not very often, but he drank a lot of water late last night, so... And it's the whole get up in the middle of the night, change the sheets. And then I'm wide awake. So I'm laying in bed going, I'd really love to go back to sleep now.
Yeah. Look, some adults still have that issue. So,
Listen, too much tequila. I'm telling you, things happen. Things happen.
On that note,
we have a guest episode today that we are super excited about. It is our back to school episode. So without further ado, from the bayous of Louisiana to the ever-changing Texas landscape, we bring you a 45-year elementary school educator. She navigates raising a family, being a spouse, participating in your community, and finding space for yourself. She has stood at the front of the classroom through decades of change, new curriculums, new technology, new expectations. And through it all, she's held on to the one thing that never goes out of style, showing up for kids. She's watched thousands of students walk through her door as strangers and walk out as readers, thinkers, and better versions of themselves. She's had the hard conversations with parents, celebrated the small victories most people will never see, and quietly shaped a community one classroom at a time. Today, we get to sit down with the woman behind the chalkboard to hear the stories she doesn't usually tell, the lessons that took her a lifetime to learn, and what 4.5 decades in elementary education have taught her about children, parenting, and what it really means to teach. While most know her as Mrs. Varnell, I have the privilege of calling her mom. Please help me welcome to the podcast my mom, Rhonda Varnell.
Hey guys!
It made the hair on my arm stand up.
I know that was such a good.
I almost cried.
It's like,
and by the way, Rachel always messes up the intros when she reads them. And look at that. That was flawless. Chef's
It was meant to be.
Because it was all about mom.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's because mom and I practiced this morning, but whatever.
It's fine.
Bless it. But I'm very excited to talk about this topic because even just hearing her intro you like that already made me think and feel about teachers differently than I do as the parent of a child. Like, you don't really get it until you know someone, in that field. So I'm really excited to talk about this today.
Well, before we talk about the things, we have to ask the hard questions.
Let's ask Rhonda the hard question. By the way, we've been trying to get Rhonda on the podcast since last back to school. So guys, we made it.
Yes. Is this, are we still going to title this one, Help Me, Rhonda? I think that's what we said.
Yes. I love it. You can't not. I mean, it's just a theme. So, all right. She is an avid listener of the podcast, so she could probably answer these questions without us even asking the questions. But the first question, as she prepares her cup, what is your favorite caffeine beverage of choice?
Coffee.
Yes.
Coffee.
I'm so glad to know
coffee on top of your coffee.
But it's mainly coffee.
I'm so glad to know your mom drinks coffee.
I'll be quite honest. Since I had 2 coffees this morning, I now have water.
In a coffee cup. Very important
In
for
my
a
coffee
Coffee Meets
cup.
Cloud podcast.
It's actually my Kinley coffee cup because it's my Nana cup.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for being on brand this morning with your coffee cup. We appreciate you. Just so y'all know, Rhonda rivals Brent Parker for being the podcast's #1 fan.
That's right.
I'm not sure which of them's in the lead, but I guess they're tied.
Yeah. Although she's on the podcast, so
True.
Oh,
She's got.
now
do
he's
you
going to be
hear that?
jealous.
Yeah.
Wait a
Do
minute.
you hear that?
He's going to say, wait a minute. I thought we weren't bringing family on here. What happened? Now I have to have my episode.
yeah, trucking gone crazy with Parker. All right. Well, Mom. All right. Food choice is up next. So, what is your go-to comfort food of choice?
Okay. Since I was little, my grandmother in South Louisiana always made a spaghetti. And so spaghetti is my thing. I mean, when Mom passed away in May and the cousins got together, and the one thing we talked about was my grandma's spaghetti. So spaghetti.
Did she do anything special with her
That's what I was gonna
spaghetti?
ask.
Like, was there a secret thing to
No,
it, or
not
it's just
really.
what you were?
It
what
was
you were
just
raised
the
with?
love that she put into it, because it was like she would take the noodles and she would put them, like in the gravy, like before you ever got served, you were served the spaghetti and noodles out the pot. Like you didn't get your pasta, then nope.
See, that's the way I do it at my house too. It's all together, and then it's all mixed up. See, somebody made fun of me for that one day, and I was like, I don't know about that.
Yeah. No. It's definitely, the love that goes into dishes, I think makes any dish a little better.
100%. Well,
no matter
and
what.
I think that what you grew up on is also what makes it special, right? Because there may not be anything special about it, but it tasted a certain way because you remember it a certain way. Because I know, like, when my mom makes things, I'm like, oh, it's so good. And people might taste it and just be like, okay, it's normal. And I'm like, but it's my mom.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, the way your mom cooks is always better.
Or your grandma. My grandma was
see,
the best cook ever.
Here's the thing. If I ever get asked this question, which we should probably ask these questions of ourselves, I don't think we've ever actually answered them. But I would say, like, it's different per family member. Like for my Mama Hazel, I have something I like that she did. From Granny Rose, it's always her carrot fritters, right? Like, it's like per family member, I would have different things that I'd say, like, if I could just have this one dish from this person for all time. Because, like, with Mama Hazel, I do her crawfish bisque, right? So if I could have my crawfish bisque with my carrot fritters, like, I mean, now, like,
that's a meal.
I'm sorry. What kind of fritters did you say?
Carrot fritters.
Okay. I'm glad. Because when I came back, you were talking about Louisiana and fritters, and I was imagining like alligator or some kind of strange meat that
crawfish fritters. That sounds
might put in a fritter.
I love crawfish.
Yeah. See, this is why I could never be like a death row inmate, because they'd ask, "What do you want for your last meal?" And they could never produce it because I'd be like,
"Well, my mama's dead, so I'm gonna need you to
go get her, and when you get her, then we can talk about you completing this task."
Yeah. For me, it's my grandmother's sweet tea. There has never been another sweet tea that tasted exactly the same. I don't know if it's because she made it in the same pot that just got, tea just got boiled in that pot. I don't know. It had a flavor that I've never been able to replicate. So good.
She probably put a pinch of baking soda in it. Have y'all ever seen people do that?
I thought you were going to say whiskey or something. Like,
no, my grandma.
You remember how you slept really good when you went to your grandma's house?
No, but she sure did put it in that Tupperware pitcher that'd been around since like the 40s, and it literally had like tea stains in it. So I'm telling you, it's the combination of all the things.
It's all those plastics you're no longer getting in your diet. That
PFAS, baby. I mean,
it's probably mostly just like the nostalgic memory that you associate to it, less than the actual taste. It's just, everything surrounding what you had when you had their meal or drink, Yeah.
Wow. All right. It's been riveting.
We've been down there. Let's talk about school.
Exactly. Okay. Everybody's favorite topic.
I do have a question because
No.
Our kids start back at the end of this week. Won't he do it? Thursday and Friday. And so I'm thinking about how excited I am for them to be going back. And even they are kind of excited because they're still young. They don't really hate school yet. But from a teacher's perspective, what does it feel like when you're getting ready to go back to school? Because it's a job and you have, I'm sure, things you have to prep for. Is there a bit of excitement because you've been away for a while, or is it more the dread of like, oh, I've been on vacation for the summer and now I have to go back to work?
So it's two things. So like when you say go on vacation for the summer, yes, we do go on vacation, but like we're required to have 25 hours of in-service for the school year. So I can either do it during the school year or I could do it during the summer. So I've been like in school mode, like I've done 2 days last week on, for my extra hours that I have to have that are off contract. And then, just getting ready. So like I've made my book bags already. So this was one of my projects this summer. Can I open it? So my book bags.
Yeah, I'm like, what am I looking at right now?
Lovely book bags. Okay. And all I do is take them and put the duct tape around them. And it's so funny because they last all year. Okay. The kids put their books that they shop from my library in their book bag. Oh, by the way, I teach second grade language arts. So I teach everything. And I've taught every grade from first through fifth, except fourth. I did not do fourth, and I don't care to jump up to teach fourth. But anyway, during the summer, teachers do things like that, so it's like, it's off and on. And yes, it is excitement, but then I go for 2 weeks of in-service, to start with meetings to get me ready,
Yeah.
It's not really 2 weeks. It's like a week and a half. And then the kids
probably
come.
more excitement for like meeting your new kids.
Yes. When they come, it is like total excitement, Yeah.
Aww.
It's like, let's see. Woo, I get a new
hope
family.
all
It's like I get new families all the time. And what really makes it special is when I get families that I've taught the kids before, like I've had the sibling. Like this summer when I drove up to Whataburger, I'm at Whataburger, and all of a sudden I see these girls come out of Whataburger and they're waving. And I go, who are these girls? So then I park the car and I go in, and of course it's one of the kids that I taught. And the mom goes, Miss Varnell, they saw you, they couldn't handle it. They had to go out. And the sweet hugs, and then I go to another store and there's another kid that I taught, and the person behind the counter goes, you teachers are like celebrities.
Yep.
You come in and it's like, whoa, hello.
Yeah. Well, that's the reputation you want. You want to be a celebrity teacher, not the one everybody's like, ooh.
Stay away from her. Like the Miss Bird I had in elementary school.
Oh, she done put her on blast. Miss Bird,
I don't mind it. Heard it here first.
I will tell you, like, about school, especially elementary school. I still know a lot of my teachers from elementary school to this day because I do live in a small town. But I had the same teachers twice in elementary school. So for second and fifth grade and third and fourth grade, I had the same teachers because they moved. So it was interesting. But my favorite elementary school teacher of all time, may she rest in peace, Miss Anderson. I love that woman. I hated her in second grade. She and I were oil and water. I got in so much trouble because I don't know if you guys know this about me, but I like to talk.
No.
And even back in the second
grade,
it
ain't so.
I know. Everything was like, A. And then comments, likes to talk, needs to be quiet, talks too much, blah, blah, blah.
Same.
Yes, that's me. But in the second grade, I felt like she was all over me. And I just, we didn't get along. In the fifth grade, that woman was my absolute favorite teacher of all time. And it's so weird how that happens. But I saw her again because she was the grandmother of one of my good friends. And when I saw her, it was like, oh my gosh, I love you so much. I mean, they really do become part of your life because in your elementary school career, you're forming a lot of those things about you, right? Like your personality, and someone likes to talk too much, people put up with it, whatever, but you're coming out of your shell, and the person that you become, I really do feel like you are heavily influenced by the teachers that you're with every day at school.
Well, Rhonda, what do you think? Because I would imagine, teachers are just people. I can't imagine liking kids at all ages. Now, I don't have the personality to be a teacher, so I'm not a fair judge. But the way I would be around a kindergartner, for example, is way different than how I would feel about a 4th or 5th grader. I love the little ones. The ones that are starting to get bigger get on my nerves. They think they know too much, and they start talking back and all the things. But maybe the teacher you're talking about clicked really well with 5th graders or whatever you said. And just the 2nd graders got on her nerves. It wasn't really you, it was her.
No, but it's a, everybody has their niche,
Yeah.
and it's like, so I really liked 1st, 2nd grade students, because when I first started teaching, they did not have kindergarten. So that's how long.
Wow. Wait a minute. No pre-K, no kindergarten. You went straight to 1st grade?
Yeah. And so 1st grade taught a lot of what kinder teaches. So when kindergarten came around, they slid down the curriculum, So when it became mandatory, because you see, I went to kindergarten when I was little, but it wasn't mandatory. And it didn't become mandatory till I was a teacher. It's like,
see, okay. I didn't go to pre-K when I was little because it wasn't a thing. Mm-hmm. You just went to kindergarten. Like the pre-K was the rich people. They went to pre-K because they were fancy, and everybody else just went to kindergarten. But now everybody goes to pre-K. Interesting how it changes.
I went to Head Start. They called it Head Start when I was little.
Yep.
And it was on the wrong side of the tracks. That's
I was going to say Head Start up here is like on the wrong side of the tracks. Carmen, are you okay?
Yeah, I feel like I might have been traumatized just a little bit because I still have some memories, and I don't remember a lot about that time, but I do remember drinking that carton of milk at that place, and it was a journey. It was a journey. But because of how long you've been a teacher now and the decades in which you've been one, I feel like you've probably been front and center on the transformation we talk about a lot on the show of moving into it's been the age of technology for a long time, but this, what do they call it? I'm having a brain fart, but the revolution we're going through. What is it that Scott called it? The third,
look, if you hear Salesforce, it's the 11th millionth industrial revolution of,
something like that.
Yeah.
But what do you think has been the biggest set of changes that you see? I mean, I know you're doing the younger kids, but I imagine even with them, it's a lot different.
Oh, yeah. Because with technology, so let me give you my background in technology.
Okay.
When we got our first home computer, my husband went to Aberdeen, Scotland. I disconnected us from the internet. How do you do that? Very, very carefully. I don't know. I just did. But now I have kids who are coming to me with, Miss Varnell, my computer's not working. And so all I can remember is what my husband has told me about. There was a code, Rhonda, and it's called the ID10T code. And if you never heard it, write it down.
I've heard it.
So anyway,
for those of you listening, write it out.
Make sure your computer is plugged into the wall, and stuff like that. So, I tell the kids to reboot a whole lot,
She said reboot, and then she just crossed her feet.
Yeah, well, because the problem with it is, so like at school, we have a one-to-one technology. Every kid has a computer. Okay, so they bring their computers home at night.
In 2nd grade?
Who knows what they get on at night at home? They probably get on sites that I could never reach. Okay, so then they come back to school and they go, Miss Varnell, it's not working. You need to help me. So then I try what, the big, things that I could try. And then I go, oh, well, we have a person in our school who is, she is a teacher helper. Okay. She's like, we call them IS, but one of her jobs, one of her many jobs is to help with computer issues. Well, so we have to get on a list and wait, or we have, a computer guy that comes to school. He's phenomenal. And, he'll help us with the computer problems, but it's like, I'm their front line of, I'm going to help you figure this out. Oh, let's reset your password. Wait, let me read. What do I have to do to get
What's the next thing on my troubleshooting
Let me
white
get down the
paper.
script. Yeah.
Well, it's like, we joke all the time of like, we're not that kind of IT, but then you take it into that context of, not having any IT background, but expected to answer these questions for kids that in some areas, I just even remember when Kinley first got my iPhone, all of a sudden my keyboard was split in half and all these things that happened. I was like, what the hell did you do? And like trying to figure out how to undo it when you have a technology background is one thing, but having no technology background is a different thing. And, in our house, my dad is Mr. IT, to the point where my grandfather used to show up at our house in Louisiana when his computer wasn't working. He'd literally haul the big monitor, he'd have the box, he'd have the keyboard, he'd haul it in one piece at a time and say, fix it. Because like he lived across town and it was broken. He didn't know what he did. So,
bless his heart.
that was
That's
dad's.
hilarious. Well, and I think, we don't think about the age range of teachers ever. I mean, Rhonda's been teaching 45 years, which I don't know is possible. She's not a day over 50. But,
Thanks.
you're welcome. But, you didn't grow up with the same technology that all of us grew up with. So like
No.
you have had to learn how to handle technology in the classroom yourself as well as these children.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And then I still have all the curriculum to teach.
Right.
It's like, here's something new. I always say that they're going to teach me, they're going to send down, like through the years, brain surgery. They're going to teach like in each grade one thing about, because they might as well just add it on to the top of everything we've already got to teach.
Do you think that that they've really tried to add too much to the curriculum as you've gone along? Like, do you think that
it's gotten pretty deep? Yeah.
Yeah.
It really has. They keep on adding things and it's like, what minute of the day do you want me to teach this? Let me give you Rachel's favorite topic, cursive writing.
Right.
See, she listens.
Cursive writing. Okay. We do at our school. So it's, I think it's a state rule. I think, and look, somebody's going to say, Ron, I can't believe you didn't know. Yes, we're required by state law to do this. So like in second grade, we teach the beginnings of cursive writing, and the kids think it is the world's best thing to learn how to write your name in cursive, so, but we do that, but that's one more thing added to make sure they read before they go to third grade, make sure they know how to write, make sure, there's a lot of things. And now there's a big push with the social studies that had kind of gotten pushed to the side because we were integrating it into reading. So as much as you could integrate social studies into reading, you were supposed to. And so then now they're pulling out the social studies aspect because they said, wait a minute, it can't be integrated anymore. You have to do this. So yeah, that's like,
how much are they really retaining of the content if they're still learning to read? You know what I mean? Like,
well, some of it, the way we have to present it is not them reading it.
Oh,
so
okay.
in second grade, you learn to read. In third grade, you read to learn. So that's a big distinction.
Oh,
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
How, where do you land on sight words?
So we do teach sight words some, and sometimes they're called high frequency words. But and the research behind that is that, so you teach the kids these words so that when they get to them, it'll be instant. Like they'll just say them and go on and read the rest. Because when a child is trying to sound out every word or figure out every word in a passage, the comprehension is gone.
Right.
Because, if I'm sounding out the 5 words in the sentence, by the time I get to the end, I'd forgot what the first word was.
Listen, I do that and I know how to say the words. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
So it's all about building comprehension, putting it in there.
Wait, that's really good to know. I had never looked up what the thought process was. I just knew that sight words, and then what's the other thing? Where you get like a passage and you have to read it.
Fluency.
Fluency. Yeah.
Mhm.
I've heard a mixed bag of reviews from teachers
Yeah,
on
well, the
whether those are
fluency
helpful.
part of it is, okay, so to me, everybody has a different reading rate.
Mhm.
Okay. You may read slower, but still understand. And I may read faster and still understand. But if you read too fast, you don't even know what you read,
Right.
So there has to be that happy medium, you know.
If you're just saying the words for the sake of saying them and saying you got
Right.
done,
Right.
what's the
Exactly.
point?
Oh my gosh. How many people have we heard that in a meeting? You just sitting
Yeah.
there spewing some stuff.
You don't have a clue what you
You
just
don't know.
said.
Funny
You
how
know,
I bet you can tell who those people are going to be from the
mhm.
time they're in her class. You're already like, you're going to be one of
Yeah.
those.
You're going to be one of those that uses all the abbreviations and have no idea what you said, but
Right?
yeah, but you're going to be promoted. Don't worry about it.
You're a winner.
Yeah, you're the
You
top
get
of
a
the class,
trophy because
babe.
you all get a trophy.
Mhm.
Oh,
And then we get a
oh,
trophy for
goodness.
giving you a trophy because that's how it works. Well, one thing too, that I've appreciated as mom has gone on this journey and we've gone with her is all of the different ways she's had to adapt in it's not just the curriculum, but it's how you're now supposed to teach the curriculum, right? So, remember the some states that did the everybody can math their own math way and it doesn't really matter as long as you can explain your answer, right? And different variations of things that have come through in teaching styles. And so mom has the wonderful opportunity to learn these every summer. And sometimes it's interesting because you think about, well, wait, like, why did that have to change, right? Like some new research has come out that has preempted that. And I think one thing is, do we do enough research, right? Like how much is too little research? How much is too much research before we make changes? And with all the changes we've added with technology, sometimes, can you really tell that it's this particular way the teacher said this that influenced something versus like, hey, what they saw on their Chromebook when they were Googling something that really was the influencer and the change. But, watching her have to do that every summer is part of that. You don't realize that teachers do work all year, even though they get the summer off and how they do that. So mom, what have you had to learn this summer that you're going to have to change,
No, so this summer I purposely took some courses or some classes on like the tabs on the computer, how to organize your tabs, just because when I'm using the Promethean board in the classroom, I have like tabs for every day. And so I want to be able to like get them organized that I don't have to go to school early in the morning and open this tab, do this, do that, So I want them where I can get to them. But so it to me, it's more technology driven. Like I remember being told over and over again by a school. Let's see, he was the superintendent of schools when I taught in Louisiana. Way back when, he would say a good teacher could get a Sears Roebuck catalog. That's how old this was, and sit underneath an oak tree and teach kids to read and write and spell and everything they needed to learn. But it's like when I'm competing against roadblocks and I'm competing against, it's like I bought a book. This book is boring because
Right.
my kids, but they need to relate to, okay, so we have the have tos, things that we have to do, things that we have to learn. And then we can have fun, but we have to do this. And, every kid is like on a different level. You get to second grade, there are so many different levels. And it's like, trying to meet the needs of all the kids and get them actively involved in their own learning and just trying to be a good citizen, just trying to be good to each other, teaching them ways because some kids, they were the only kid in the family. Some kids, they were one of 13 or whatever, so there's a big difference in everything that you have to do. So it's really hard. But I wanted to, okay, let me get on the teacher soapbox side just a minute. Okay.
Yes, do it.
I want you to think anytime that a teacher calls you, writes a note, has a concern, think good intents, because this teacher is going out of their way. Okay, there is so much to do in a day that I can't get it done. There's a lot, and then the amount of money teachers get,
Peanuts.
Yeah. And you know what they do with their money? Some of them, they spend money back on the classroom.
Right.
So instead of doing an Amazon wish list, send them an Amazon gift card.
Right.
Just, I was just thinking of you. Here you go. And something like that, because trust me, they're not going to be spending it on themselves. Dalbert's always going, why'd you buy this? Why'd you buy that? It's like, but I need it for my classroom, And so,
That's a good segue into one of the questions I had, talking about try to think that it's coming from a good place when you hear from a teacher.
Yes.
On the reverse side of that, if you could tell parents what is worth getting in contact with a teacher about versus what really didn't need to be an email.
Okay. So like when your kid gets in the car at car rider line and says, you won't believe what she said today. I don't need to know what I said. I was there. Okay. Right. And your child's interpretation of what I said, you don't need to let me know. But if it's a red flag, yes, please contact, if it's something that just doesn't sit right in your heart, please contact the teacher and just say, hey, I just want to know, just checking in, not trying to be that helicopter mom, with every question or whatever, but, or I've noticed this happening at home. Can you tell me if it's happening at school? Because that's being like the concern, because I've had parents that'll say, Miss Varnell, I cannot believe, you didn't listen to them when they said blah, blah, blah. And I was like, no, I did. And I took care of it. But I can't say, Rachel, this is what I did to Cassandra. I can't say that. I can't say that to the kid. I can't say that to the parent. So they may or may not, they'll go, oh, she didn't do anything. Well, if
it's not exactly the resolution
to that kid, or
right.
They didn't visually see that I pulled a kid into the hall when they were transferring over here, or,
And to your point, you can't tell them that. Like,
right. I can't
when Liam gets in a fight at after school with a little boy, they can't tell me what the boy was, or if the boy pushed him and bit him or whatever. They can't tell me who it was and what they did. They just say, this is what happened and we took care of it.
Right.
And you have to let it go.
Please
Parents,
believe us,
let it go. It's okay to let it go. You
I was going to say,
worry about little Johnny all the time.
PSA to parents. When she says, if it doesn't sit right in your heart, she's not talking to those of you who nothing sits right in your heart.
Right.
For y'all, forget you have an email. But for the rest of you, that are normal, follow your heart.
To the 5% of the population listening right now, right, feel free to email your teacher. No, I think that's, you don't think about that when it's your kid and another kid. I want to know what the other kid did. I want to know how this was handled. You kind of have the tendency to forget about the privacy of the other family.
Yeah.
And the teacher's job is to maintain that privacy as best they can for both families. And I think, if it's kind of like, I think about, a boss in a situation, and a boss has to handle a conflict between two employees. Well, I can't go tell Karami that I told Cassandra she was an idiot and she better shape up, right? And then go tell Cassandra, well, I told Karami that she's a moron and she better do this, right?
Right.
Like, you can't do that. And
it's sounding a little bit like an actual one-on-one I had with Rachel one time.
Yeah, but I mean, whatever.
I just call Karami and tell her she's a moron. What? No.
she's calling back on memory there. That wasn't even role play. That was
real life.
And for any of you who are listening, that is not real life.
No, I'm kidding.
I would have never said that. I would have said it in a much more politically correct way.
Right.
But I think we forget about that, right? Like, we treat how we get interacted with at work and how the privacy of others is respected in places, right? And then when it comes to our kids, though, we want to helicopter parent. We want to protect them. And that's nature, right? That's like that nature aspect of protecting your kids. So I think having grace with your teachers and understanding why they can't tell you about the other side. And And also think about if your kid was on the flip side of that. Would you
Right.
really want that other parent knowing like, hey, your kid did X, Y, and Z, and this is what happened? Probably not.
And,
Yeah.
a lot of times, like I'll use examples and I'll say, it's me, like I'll tell the kids, I told them this story about, how sometimes I just have to let things go. And I went through this whole long story. The next day, one of my sweet second graders sent me, she wrote a card, and I was all excited because she wrote all these words. And she said, Miss Varnell, when your life is stressful, stop, take deep breaths, and just remember good stuff. And I went, and she brought me a white rose. And she said, just always remember everything's okay. Because last year was a stressful year for me too. But I wasn't even, going there. But so she listened to what I said. So, it's like life lessons all along the way. One of my kids, Miss Varnell, she's doing exactly what I'm doing. And I go, oh, you're an influencer. And she went, oh, okay.
That word holds a lot of weight these days because
sure
influencers make big
does.
money. So now they're like, hey, okay, I'm an influencer.
I am.
I love it.
I really liked what you were saying earlier about why I feel terrible that you have to think so much about this every summer, but like how to reach them in the classroom because their environment and what they are getting to do is changing so rapidly, like trying to stay up and up on that.
Mhm.
But it made me think of another question I had for you, which is we talk in the show a lot about the attention span of
Mhm.
kids now because of the constant flood of stimulation and all those
Yep.
things. We're suggesting that must be noticeable in the classroom because it's noticeable at home. Are you seeing a lot of that? Is it
yeah.
getting
Oh,
really
yeah.
hard?
Oh, yeah.
Ugh.
Look, okay, so when ADD and ADHD first came out, I was like, medicate the teachers. You won't have to worry about the kids.
Problem solved.
But okay, that's not a thing. I know, like from personal experience, like I had a son. I have a son. Love him dearly. But he was having trouble in school, and I was like, I can't understand this. He could do it perfectly with me at home. So why is it when he goes to school, he can't do it? And I mean, we would beat heads. Dalbert would leave to go on a work trip and he'd go, look, I need you to behave because when you're mom, I don't want mom killing you while I'm gone.
Right.
Because it was just like, I can't believe you knew it perfectly. And then you go to school and what are you doing? And so then I heard myself saying some of the things that parents were telling me. And so, it's like, I had a doctor that sat me down and he said, look, if your child needed glasses, would you get him glasses? And I said, sure. And he goes, so what I'm suggesting is that your child needs medicine and you need to try it. And so I remember going to the drugstore and like, I can't believe this. And that was like the worst feeling. And I told the druggist, I said, can you just give me like maybe 3 of the pills? And he goes, nope, got to fill the prescription. And I was like, okay. So, but then once he started on the medicine, it was like, wow, he's focused and he can do, because ADD is not being able, okay, it's not that you can't focus in every situation. It's inability to focus when you have to.
Right.
And so that was the big difference. It's like he could focus. Give him the Harry Potter books. He could focus.
Right.
Give him a game. He could focus.
Right.
Give him math. Give him reading. Give him other things. Yeah, he was all over the place. And so that's, from a personal experience, because at first I had Rachel first. I was like, I know how to do this.
I'm a great parent. Look at me go. Look at this.
Look at me go.
Look at me. And then
He never needs help. Everything's fine. Straight A's.
Yeah, we got it, And then with Daniel, it was, it was more of a challenge, but it's fine because he has learned. And I mean, Daniel has a master's degree in, stuff. So I'm just like, I'm proud mama here, but it took mama, that's why, when I say about not sitting right with your heart, that, you really need to look at it and you really need to think about it, and if you don't see, and that's where the communication with school is really big, because if, like, you would come to my classroom and you go, okay, Rhonda's being an idiot here. Like we flap our arms and we go around. We're butterflies. Come on, guys, get up, everybody. Or we do the thing about, like refocusing your brain. Let's go.
Brain
because
breaks.
I taught one summer at dyslexic school so that Daniel could go for free. And I, taught a different student. But, because it's all about the money, because with teachers doing all the extra things, it adds up. But it's just, we see it in school, we know it. Like at first, way back when they said, oh, you might have one or two kids who are dyslexic, I now have many, and so it's just, and it's age appropriate, like, okay, can they sit for this many minutes and listen to me read a book? Those kids who can't by second grade, there's something else, and like some parents and I, like meet the teacher. I had this parent come to me and say, Miss Varnell, my child is dyslexic and you need to prove it. Okay. I've been told time and time again, I am not a doctor and I cannot diagnose anybody.
Right.
Sorry. But anyway,
that's a good point. You have to view your child's teacher as your partner, because they are with them. Like my son, getting him diagnosed with ADHD was really hard for me because I didn't want him to have it. You don't want your kid to have any issue. You don't want him to have anything, right? But
exactly.
If you view that teacher as a parent, they're coming to you to say, your child is struggling. These are all the extra things I'm doing to help. And if you can have those good conversations with your child's teacher, you can really become partners in their education. Because I like what you said about you're there to teach the kids how to be active in their own learning. And that right there is the key. You have to have your kid want to learn and not have to fight their teacher every single day.
Yeah.
Well, and I think what's powerful too is if you're a parent out there struggling with these decisions, struggling with these areas, it's one thing to know the things, right?
Right.
Mom has done these things. She knows how to handle these things. But it's a different thing when it's your child, right? And I think it's important to recognize that and not over criticize yourself for how you're handling the situation with your child. Of, you may know it textbook, this is what's supposed to happen. You do A, then you do B, then you do C, but then it comes to your kid and you're like, but what about Z? Right. Or I don't feel like they need that. So giving yourself grace on that parenting journey and recognizing where you are is important, just as important as partnering with the teacher.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Well, for us parents, it's our first time encountering all of these things we're encountering, because even if you have more than one child, every child's needs and personalities and everything else are unique, and they always say there's no playbook, there's no directions for what you're supposed to do. But teachers have been involved in the lives of many. So while they don't know all the ins and outs of your child, I'm sure you've seen patterns, you've seen things that work, things that didn't work. Like the insight a teacher can have, if they're the right kind of teacher, that is. I'm sure that they're not all created equal. But if they're the right kind of teacher, like Miss Varnell clearly is, and when she talks about her students, having them in your corner can make a big difference. Like sometimes just a gut check, like, hey, this seems off to me, but like, do you see a lot of this at this age? Because if you tell me this is pretty normal, that's going to put my mind at ease and I'm just going to let it rock. But if you tell me, something's a little, there's a challenge here or whatever, then I'm going to feel validated and know that I need to take that next step in pursuing that a little bit or learning a little more about it. So I love teachers, most of them.
Except Mrs. Bird,
Mrs. Bird.
Whoever Mrs. Bird is, she's been put on blast.
I hope both sides of her pillows are hot all the time.
I think we could probably talk about this topic forever because from the parent lens, from the teacher lens, I really think this is a timely episode with everybody coming back to school very, very soon. I know Liam starts next week in first grade. He's no longer in the letter grades. What happened to our children? They grew up too fast.
Wait, he's getting letter grades.
He's going into first grade. So I don't know what that entails as far as he's
going
no
in
pre-K or
different
kindergarten.
States are different because in Louisiana in first grade we gave A, B, C, D, F, and then in Texas in first grade it's just E, S, and N, and then in second grade they get numerical grades. And
I think in second grade here is where they start getting numerical grades. I think it's the same.
Yeah. And you have to understand that S is a big range.
You're good, but you might be on the low end of good.
At the low end of that. Yeah. And that's when I have a lot of complaints, from parents that they're like, but they had an S last year. Yep, they did.
Barely. They barely did.
Welcome to second grade.
I'm praying for all the teachers and all the students to have a great school year this year, and Rhonda to have an amazing. How many more years do you have until you're going to retire?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Don't know.
I know this year for sure that I'm going to be teaching, and, we'll decide, if it's time to hang it up or not. It's a calling for me. It's truly, it wasn't in my book about, I'm going to get rich being a teacher. That wasn't ever, and a lot of my friends who are single teachers, that's why and I've known some amazing teachers that quit teaching because they couldn't afford to be a teacher.
So sad.
Oh yeah. They left. Like I had one friend her parents rented a room from her apartment so she could afford to pay rent. And that was just for when they came to visit. I have another friend who sold her house and she's living in an RV to help pay for her kids' college, and it's just another friend who teaches all day long. And then at night she tutors kids so that she can make extra money so that she can afford to live. Because there's
governments, are you listening? We need state governments. Teachers are underpaid. Mm-hmm. I will 10 toes down tell you, and that's been that way for years, but it's getting ridiculous.
I think it's been forever, and so we lose a lot of good teachers because they can't afford it, because they are single women or single men on their own, and they just can't.
I think we need a rule in this country that says you don't get to have a say in the legislation around something unless you come from that walk of life. So if it's something about an industry or a job or something government funded, you don't get to have a vote or make a decision unless you've spent time in that walk of life. And even for like social related things, you don't even know anything about that. Okay, keep going. Move on. We don't need your input. Because, I think that's what happens a lot is you've got people who think they know better, who think they know best, making decisions for the people actually in the trenches, and it's usually not the best.
Oh, so you mean like corporate America?
Like everything everywhere.
I think we need lots of rules.
But the problem is people have to follow them. So
that's who does that?
There's that. I think, I will say as we do get to the top of our time, it is definitely mom's calling. It is definitely, I remember when Kenley was having an issue in school. And so I was like, Mom, we're going to the school. And we called my grandmother and she goes, I got the bail money. And we went to the school and we handled it. And Mom was like, look at this part and this thing, this didn't happen. And she was like schooling this teacher. And it's interesting because you never want to be in that position, right? You never want to say to someone else like, hey, I know you didn't do your job, or I know you're cutting corners, right? Especially when you understand the perspective of, I understand the stress load you're under, right? I understand the number of parents you have to interact with, the number of kids. You not only think about all of the people you interact with at your work. Do you know all of their first and last names all the time on day one? Do you know what their favorite color is or what their backgrounds are, or maybe how they like to learn. We tell people all the time, not everybody learns from hearing things. Not everybody learns from a PowerPoint, right? But you don't necessarily in a work environment have to accommodate all that.
Right.
But in
Or
a
the amount
teaching
of
environment,
scrutiny.
you do.
I mean, think
Right.
about if not that parents are teachers' bosses by no means,
Right.
but they
Yeah.
think they are, and they have
You're right.
opinions and feedback like they are. So imagine if you had that many quote unquote bosses coming at you all the time.
Yeah.
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 This scrutiny and the industry, like all industries change and you have to keep up with it. Technology is certainly changing really rapidly, but to Miss Varnell's point, so is teaching. So you're having to go through all this change, but under the scrutiny of like 27 sets of bosses that all have a different opinion about how you should run your classroom.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
So I think, navigating all of that, like we think we have hard jobs. I'll tell you, you ain't got nothing on a teacher.
No.
And so as she inches closer and closer to retirement, even when she retires, I can guarantee you she's never going to stop teaching. She'll just find something else to teach to somebody else. It may be to a rooster on a farm, but she's going to try.
She's I'm going to teach that rooster how to fly.
We're going to learn how to, we're going to play the piano, rooster. All right, here we go.
You, rooster, are going to be active in your own learning journey. That's right. And right now, we are learning this. Okay?
It's going to be a flower. Come on. It's going to be the flowers, the plants. I'm going to talk to them. And they'll respond. They'll grow.
That's true.
Yeah.
They will.
Play on Beyonce. They will shoot right up. Yeah. It's a real thing.
Well, at least her earlier works. But
yeah.
Well, it is close to that time. Thank you so much, Mom, for hanging out with us this morning and dropping some knowledge as you always do. And with that, Karami, take us home.
Thank you guys so much for tuning into this week's episode. We're glad you were here. We hope you loved the conversation. Our thanks to Miss Varnell for coming by and schooling us, as they say. We're definitely going to have you back when you retire so that we can get all the hot tea. We hope you guys will be with us next Tuesday. We drop episodes every week. Follow us on socials at Coffee Meets Cloud. Come by the website at coffeemeetscloud.com. Until next time, keep your coffee strong. See you ladies later.
Bye.
Bye.